We'll do a live show or something fun like that.
Other than that, David, what you doing this week?
We got a couple things. First things first. Today we played some board games, which I always do every week.
Yes.
So this week we played, today we played. It was me, you, Jordan, our buddy David, and then my wife. We all played Battlestar Galactica, which is based on the second version of the show, because you didn't watch the original one back in
no, it did not.
the 70s.
So the good version.
Oh well, you're gonna offend some people out there.
Okay.
But the game is based on that second the sci-fi channel version of it. And it's one of those games where everyone is working together. If you don't know about Battlestar Galactica, because you watch the show very, very religiously.
Oh yeah, love it.
Love that show. And it's basically humans have created sentient robots who went too far, which we're going to do now in real life. And they uprised and they ended up almost destroying all of human civilization. You are the remaining few humans trying to find a new planet to inhabit.
Yeah, all the 12 colonies were blown up by the Cylons and stuff, so...
Get deep.
We're the
Get sweaty here, buddy.
We're the last remaining fleet.
So yeah, you're a group of humans trying to essentially get to Earth. Cobol, Project Cobol, is that what it's called, to try to get to a new planet.
It's a planet called Cobol.
So basically what you're trying to do in this game is simply survive. The problem is that, one, those sentient robots are coming after you throughout the entire...
Skin jobs, yeah. You don't know who's who.
And they've advanced so far, these robots, that now, in the TV show and in the game, they can actually take the look like a form of a human.
Westworld style.
Exactly. Now, they take that concept in the TV show and they apply it to the game in this way. Everyone's working together, but one of you is potentially two of you, but at least one of you is a Cylon, that's the robots, and is actively trying to hide themselves until the moment is right and kind of do things shady behind the scenes.
Sabotaging, kind of behind the scenes, not too obvious.
Not too obvious because you're like a spy and you're trying to not show everybody that you're a freaking Cylon. Frack you.
Freaking Cylon. Fracking Cylons, as Ty would say, Colonel Ty.
And it's really cool if you're a big fan of the actual game or the TV show, you'll love the board game because it's got stills from the TV show and it's got all of the things are very thematic. So like for instance, at the beginning of the game, someone's going to be it gets the title of Admiral and they get the the codes to the nukes.
Adama.
And then one person is the president and they get
Laura Russell.
Okay, all right. And then they get some special deck that they can choose from a set of cards. But the meat of the game is this. You move around the ship, you perform different actions. Maybe you're repairing some of the damaged ships that the bad guys shot down, or maybe you're firing on the ships that are chasing you.
And you're continuously trying to jump to the next planet, next destination, that'll eventually get you to Cobol, which is the ultimate objective for the human fleet.
Right. But every once in a while, one of the things that you're going to do, you're going to have to draw this crisis card. And this is basically when bad stuff happens in the game.
Every turn, yeah.
Every single turn that a player's turn. And what's going to happen is some of them are skill checks. So they'll say something like, oh, there's a prison revolt.
Or water shortage.
Or water shortage. Yeah, we had a bunch of those. And the players, essentially the skill checks say, hey, you need to put into the pot. Everybody gets a chance to put into the pot a particular type of card. And there's a certain number that you need of cards that you need to get to meet this crisis and prevent it. Mm-hmm. So everybody gets but they put their cards in face down. So no one knows.
Yeah, so like I could be the Cylon and like, oh, hey, this skill check only needs this specific amount of cards. I'm going to put in a card that will maybe negate those points or whatever.
Any card that's not is
but
not.
They don't know it was
if it doesn't, if he places a card that's not necessary for that objective, it actually negatively detracts against the cards that are helping.
Right.
And again, no one knows what cards that went in. So it gets this mechanic of like, well, who put in the bad card? Well, you were in the pot. You helped. So you one of you three is the bad guy. So it creates a lot of tension. And then what's cool is there's a chance that maybe one or even two people can be bad guys, but you first pass out loyalty cards. So let's tell you if you're a good guy or a bad guy, right? And then halfway through the game, you pass out another set of cards, which potentially make people who thought they were originally good in the first part become bad. They were like sleeper agents or something like that. But it's
like Galen, like the chief or Ty. They didn't know they were Cylons, and they were part of the original 12.
Exactly. So again, go watch the TV show, and you'll really like this game. So we played it today with a group of people. Me and Gerald were Cylon brothers.
High five, we won.
We won. The Cylons won fun. It is very difficult if the humans don't figure out who the Cylons are quickly.
Honestly, I was very disappointed because like I was a Cylon from the very beginning. Were you? Or
I was a Cylon from the beginning. So
oh really? So
yeah, but I played it. I played it real cool. Like I didn't do anything negative too much in the beginning.
Did I? Like I slipped a couple of negative skill checks in, here and there, but nothing crazy. I was waiting for the right time because you get a special skill when you reveal yourself as a Cylon.
Yep.
And I was waiting for the right time, but David kind of bust his nut and did a little early.
Well, the thing about the game too is most games, if you're a traitor, you're either not supposed to show yourself, and if someone catches you, then they've won. In this game, it actually, when you reveal yourself, if you do it at the appropriate time, you devastate the other side, and then you get a new role. Like
which is what I was waiting for.
Yeah, and so, but fortunately, the human team was in such a position that once I revealed myself and devastated them, we won the game.
Filthy humans.
They didn't deserve it.
Nope.
But it's a very unique and cool game. It is a little bit heavy. There's a lot of rules to it, but it's like once you kind of play maybe a couple rounds, you're like, But the thing is, it's one of those games where it's the leaky boat, and there's too many fires going on. You're trying to put out everything, and you can't do everything. You almost
don't have time to figure out who a Cylon is and who isn't, because you're just trying to figure out, like...
How do we survive?
Yeah, exactly. Let's make sure our population is up and our food is up.
Yeah, because there's a bunch of different metrics that you have to keep track of, and so that's what makes the game complicated. It's not complicated from, like, mathy or anything like that. It's just you have a lot of things to think about, and you're also at the same time you have to keep up your guard, because you're like, especially if you're not a Cylon. If you're a Cylon, the game's pretty straightforward. You're just like, okay, I'm just gonna not do anything until I do everything.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, and it's fun because you get that accusation. So you're a Cylon. Well, you would say that because you're a Cylon.
Yeah, exactly. Are we gonna review that game, or maybe one more?
We'll play it one more time because the first time we played it, we didn't. It's one of those things you don't really know what you're doing. The second time we knew what we were doing, and it was relatively simple. Like it seemed like the humans had a lot of bad luck.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'd want to play it one more time, but I would recommend it if you like the TV show. You got to get this.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I was making a bunch of references because I've seen the show, obviously, and everyone else was just like, "Oh God."
But it's fun because
super nerd over here.
Well, you give the thematic flair because like we read the flavor text because that's what I make everyone do. But you're like, "Oh, I bet Adama said that," and I'm like, "Yeah, actually, he did in the TV show." Exactly. And it's fun. And like, if someone's like, "Oh, I have a special ability that's the CAG ability," and you're like,
"That's the CAG. It's commander of the air group."
And that's what makes the game entirely fun. If you have a friend, if you're not a BSG fan, you got to go find one, bring them in, and they'll make it even better and more thematic. Because the game is very thematic. I mean, this idea that on the TV show they were trying to figure one of them, someone secretly was a Cylon, or multiple people were, and they were trying to figure out who's trying to sabotage because they can't really tell. So it's a really fun game. I would say it's probably now between, I'd say, $35, $45. It's not terribly expensive.
Base game, and there's a bunch of expansions.
Yeah, they have the Pegasus expansion and all this stuff. So definitely give it a try. I think it's more leaning on the great game for me. The one thing, like I said, that if you don't like that type of game, because some people don't like that pressure of being the bad guy and not being being a good spy. Like, people don't like lying in games sometimes, like a lot of bluffing games. People don't.
God, I love that.
Me too. I absolutely love those games.
Terrible people.
I know. It's funny. My wife, during the game, I was a Cylon, and I convinced her that I wasn't, because they threw me in the brig. One thing you can do is if you think somebody's being a bad guy.
I didn't think you were Cylon.
Yeah,
I knew I was a Cylon.
Well, yeah, it's always easy. That's why I said when you're the spy, it's always easy because I know what I have to do.
Right.
But I was in the brig, I was in prison, and I was like, I am not the bad guy. And Alyssa was like, I believe him. And then afterwards, I'm like, oh, I wish she.
Poor bastard.
I know. Well, part of me is like, I wish she didn't believe me, because that's only going to make it harder when I do reveal myself that I was a total jerk. But again, it's a fun game to play. It's very, if you like thematic games, if you like that kind of style of game, I cannot recommend it enough. It's definitely one of the first games that had that type of mechanic. There's a lot of games that came after, like Dead of Winter. Shadows of Camelot actually came out before it, but that cooperative with a traitor aspect is a lot of fun. If you have the right group of people, it's one of the best games you can buy. So that's one thing I did. The other thing I wanted to talk about is I am almost caught up with Westworld. Now, I want to preface this with, we're going to spoil some stuff about Westworld.
Oh, are we?
Yeah, past episode 7, which is a big moment in the show. So if you have not caught up to Westworld, because I want to talk to Gerald about this, because I have some thoughts.
What door?
Hold on. So tune out if you don't
mean anything to me.
If you don't want to know any Westworld spoilers. Okay. So I'm not caught up on episode 8 at this moment, and episode 9 will have come out when when this podcast comes out. So episode 7
tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah.
So episode 7, we find out Bernard is a host.
Oh, yes.
Did you see that coming?
A little bit. Only a little bit, though.
I didn't see it.
And as soon as he was like,
What door?
What door? I was like, oh! Oh my God! He's a host.
Did you really do that? Did you flip out?
No, yeah. My wife was like, calm down. Like, let's bring it down a couple.
No, it definitely is.
It was very crazy.
It was a bit crazy. I thought the part, it was funny, as soon as, before that happened, me and Alyssa, we were talking about how, because he knew the information that Teresa, I think is her name, was the one feeding the satellite information.
Yep.
And he goes in and he talks to her, and I'm like, this dude has got the poker face of poker faces. Does not show any emotion, almost like a robot.
Oh, wait. What do you think of the show, like, as a whole so far?
It's okay. The show has a lot going for it. It grabs me because of the theme. Love the theme, you know me, Western and sci-fi. Smack those together. Two great tastes that taste great together. The problem is the show has this, like, it's that dollar bill with on the fish line, like, and you keep moving, and it's like, come on, man, let me get something. Give me something.
Well, as someone who, like, my favorite show of all time is Lost.
Yes.
Like, this has a lot of parallels with Lost as a show.
Long,
where it's
drawn out.
Yeah, drawn out, and, like, it answers one question but provides 5 more questions kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, 1 step forward, 2 steps back kind of thing with the questions. And, I mean, spoiler alert for the end of the year podcast, but this is probably going to be my favorite show of the year. But, man, it's so
Not me.
I mean, we'll wait. We'll wait
to see the rest.
There's only 2 episodes left of the finale this year.
Yeah.
But
the acting in it is spectacular.
So good, man.
And Anthony Hopkins has got it. I mean, like, the dude is super. Like, he just cannot be a good guy in movies anymore or TV shows. He needs to always be like a strange, bad guy, creepy bad guy who you don't necessarily think he's pure evil, but he's also like clearly not of angels. You know what I mean? Like
right.
he toes that, and his acting is impeccable, man. Like, he makes everyone else seem like child's play. The dude is just above and beyond better than everybody else on that TV show.
And not only that, but like some of the hosts on the show, like Evan Rachel Wood, who plays Dolores,
she's great.
And then Tandy Newton, I think her name is, that plays Maeve.
She's fantastic.
Like,
too.
obviously, these are real people who are playing robots on the show. Robots who act like real people. So, like, their acting chops, it's like, okay, you got to act like a robot, then you got to act like a real person.
You got to act like a robot acting like a real person.
Yeah, at a second cue, you got to act like a robot again. And these actors, like, these just
it reminds me when
it's
someone does an accent of somebody else doing an accent, like, oh, I'm going to do Arnold Schwarzenegger doing Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, that's hard to do.
And, like, the guy who's playing Bernard, Jeremy...
I can't remember his last name, but yeah.
But
he's fantastic too.
When he's playing like his normal self, and then like he's playing a robot, it's like, whoa, calm down, Bernard. And he immediately, like, because he's a robot, like, plays down. It's just crazy how the different levels of acting these people have to do. It's just crazy. Like
I said, the only problem with the show is sometimes the show feels like it has up its own ass problem, where it's like, oh, well, this is how we're very like it's like, come on, get to the story. Like, I get it. Like, oh, that's cool and that's cool. It's just it's not necessarily. Its plot development is we're at episode 7 and we finally get like a climax or a plot twist, and it's just like, this is 7 hours into your show. Like, I get it, you have to create these characters and you have to create these units, but you have to have some payoff to the audience. Like, 7 hours is a long time to invest in a TV show before getting not, you know,
an answer.
Something, right? And it's like, well, how long are you going to string along your audience before you tell them something? Who's, you know, we need to set up who's the good guy, who's the bad guy, who is the people I'm going to be rooting for, who's the gray character, who is, you know, who's the character that is bad but seems like he's doing it for the right reasons or whatever.
And because of that, it's made a lot of parallels to Lost. Like, a lot of people out there are saying, like, this is just like Lost, where you get one question answered and you have 3 more.
And I don't mind that necessarily. It's just it's sometimes it feels, and we'll get to a movie that's very esoteric, where it's just like, if you understand Lost, then you're in on it. But everybody else is just like, when is this going to resolve? Yeah. When are we going to get some resolution in this, or some framing of the greater story?
There's a podcast I listened to, and they were like, obviously there's the 2 timeline or maybe 3 timeline theory and all this kind of stuff, where a lot of people who are looking into the theories of the show, what's going on, all that kind of stuff makes sense. But there's the general audience member. It's like, wait, 2 timelines? Like, what the hell are you talking about?
Right, and that's what I'm saying. You've got to be careful to, you know, I don't mind.
You don't lose those
Well,
people.
here's the thing. It's HBO, so they have the right to, like, treat their audience, you know, with a certain type of, and this is going to sound like very like boom, 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 but they can, you know, people are paying a subscription service to have this type of, it's not, you know, it's
they're
not
expecting, like,
the audience is a little bit
programming, storytelling, all that kind of stuff.
The storytelling can be more esoteric. That's really the only word I can think of. That it's very more niche. It can be more literature based, because, you know, and that's not to say like people who have HBO like to read books, but this is based off of a novel, right? Michael Crichton,
yep.
Which I don't know how much they're taking from that original material. And And there was a movie too.
There was a movie in the 70s, Westworld as well. There's a couple like theories out there that are like the thing that happened in the movie is the incident that happened 30 years ago, quote unquote. But nothing.
That would be cool
because
it would be almost timed, right?
Exactly. Yeah,
I love when they do that. Yeah.
But nothing's been confirmed. There have been a couple like funny or fun little Easter eggs.
You
like,
gotta stop that with this pen. You're driving me nuts.
But there was like the quote unquote Man in Black in the original Westworld movie. There was a shot of him in the show. It's almost like an Easter egg, but you're like, did that really happen?
Yeah, but that's that's a callback to like Westerns, the Man in Black, right? The black hat. Like that's such a classic, and I love that. I love the callbacks to Westerns. But yeah, I do like the Easter eggs that they drop that you don't notice until the reveal, and then you can go back and watch.
There was music from the old movie that they showed in that was like, people were like, wait, what? Like that was cool, little Easter egg. And I'm sure we'll have a big deeper dive
once the maze.
Exactly. Well, if you watched the season 8, David,
you might know. But my question is, how many seasons has this been signed for?
So they were just signed for a second season.
Just
a few weeks ago.
See, that's weird. They should have been signed earlier.
That's not weird.
Is
not
it
for HBO?
Okay.
And like,
because I know like Game of Thrones gets signed like for a new season after the first episode.
That's Game of Thrones though, but the production of this show has kind of had troubles and a long way getting to this first season, and they finally signed it to a second season a few weeks ago, and then that second season won't even premiere until they're saying 2018. So we may even have a 2-year break before we even see the second season, which is like brutal, but. I mean, if they're fans of the show,
they'll figure it out. Yeah. They'll squeeze it in. Don't worry. It'll just it might be back to back with like Game of Thrones, which isn't good because this was supposed to be the off thing, right?
Exactly.
But it doesn't matter. They're like, come on.
Freaking HBO.
That's my thing, and they've got other good shows. There's other shows that I watch. I watched, Divorce, which I know you thought was it's funny. It actually is. It's kind of got like that HBO funny. There's a bunch of Pretty Little Liars. I think is what Pretty Little Lies. I think is what or big. I don't forget it. It's the one with oh God, what's her name? Sweet Home Alabama. What's her freaking name? You don't know what I'm talking about. She got pulled over by a bunch of cops and was hammered. I can't remember. I can't remember her name. The audience is yelling at me. I can't remember her name. Anyway, her and Nicole Kidman are going to be in a TV show. And what's interesting, and my wife was like, "Oh, well, like they're like movie stars are doing TV shows now." And it's like, yeah, because there's a lot of money to be made in TV shows, like in the production value.
Like they're putting a lot of money into these big, like overarching serial TV shows and stuff, and they're having these
Legally
big
Blonde.
actors
What's that chick's name? Legally Blonde.
I don't know. I know who you're thinking about.
Yeah, that girl. She's in it, and so is Nicole Kidman. And it's like I said, it's interesting to see how much. And also, you get I think HBO. Maybe I'm wrong, but it feels like HBO gives a lot of artistic leeway. Like they tell some weird. They give like honestly, I could think of like Flight of the Conchords. How does that get signed to anywhere else other than HBO? Or like,
for sure, and
or
that's
like
just
that,
amazing.
Yeah, right. And that's my point. Like they give
Reese Witherspoon.
Witherspoon. Thank you. Reese Witherspoon and Nicole Kidman are in that show, and they have a bunch. Like they had the one with Jack Black and
this. Oh my God, what was that show called? That show wasn't
The Button.
that good,
I think it wasn't that great, but it was very strange and very different. Brink. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. They give a lot of artistic freedom and they get big name actors because at the end of the day, these. HBO is becoming
HBO.
Well, that and like I think the HBO Now or HBO is it HBO Now? It's like $15 a month. That's a good deal.
Well, they're competing with Netflix,
cancel it anytime.
And Netflix is obviously dumping a ton of money into original programming stuff.
Yeah.
So HBO is trying to do the same thing. Where like we've already been the quote unquote king of original programming, so we got to put more money.
Home
into
box office. It's not. Yeah. It's not TV.
It's not TV. It's HBO. But they're trying to compete and bump a bunch of money into that. And Westworld is a very good.
Edition of
evidence of that. Yeah.
Okay. So now that we got through What You Doing, let's talk about our review for this week. You talked about it a little bit last week, but I got a chance to play a lot more of it, and you got a chance to even play even more of it, and we played some multiplayer. Is Watch Dogs 2.